Oh man, well, do us another song.
Yeah,
then?
let's
talk
do
about
this
it.
tune. This is El Venadillo, and it's, as I said, it's a bolero that I wrote pretty much about just kind of the bittersweet joys of parenting and watching our kids stumble and fall and learn from their challenges, and it's that process of non-attachment and surrender. So it's El Venadillo is the fawn. Yeah. Count us off. Yeah. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. En la selva tenebrosa, ¿quién sabe qué espera? En sus piernas temblorosas, naviga la oscuridad. El camino ñango sigue, hasta sus cuernas llega a 10. Pero este caos no se pare y lo mantiene en seguridad. Deje el ritmo que le llame, más adentro, más allá, a descubrir el contraste, porque así se aprenderá. Aunque el madre huera jale, el venadillo no dormirá. Siempre sigue vigilante, porque así se aprenderá. Venadillo siempre fue en las manos del saber. El venadillo siempre fue en las manos del saber.
It's WNCW Studio B, live in here today, Queen Bee and the Honeylovers. I love watching folks who clearly enjoy playing. Yeah, I mean, I'm just watching all the faces here and everything, and y'all are having, I hope you're having a good time.
Yes.
You sure look like you are. I was taken back, and I don't want to get on a morose subject or anything, but I was taken back to when the pandemic shut everything down, shut down the venues and all. You all were the first band that I watched on the virtual, the online.
Yeah.
Where were you? Was it?
So that was actually at the Pulp at the Orange Peel.
Right.
And it was like a partnership with I Am AVL and the Orange Peel.
Right.
I think they did this like a series of concerts, live streamed concerts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There were some great ones along through there during that
Yeah.
time, and I've really admired all of you who did that, because part of what happens, right, is when you're playing for a crowd, you're getting from them and you are giving to them, and you're playing for an empty music hall, it's kind of different, isn't it?
Well, and it was just especially eerie because at that moment, right, like the pandemic was so new and so unknown and so frightening, to be.
Yeah.
So I still remember that being a very emotionally charged experience. I was pregnant and we hadn't seen each other in a
right.
while. Yeah. So it was all very like, oh, do we hug? Do we, you know what I mean? Like it was, yeah.
So now you got a toddler, eh?
I do, yeah. Yeah, I do. I have a 6-year-old and an almost 3-year-old. Yeah.
Well, glad to see that go away, and you just had to hope that it, as well as fans, we hope that it wasn't too devastating, for all the artists out there. I know,
and it was.
It was, yeah. It wound up being,
yeah. So a lot of our scene hasn't totally recovered. That's just the swing scene and a lot of that, dancing, getting up in people's faces and dancing is still kind of a, an edgy thing to do these days. It's like, oh, we're going to breathe each other's air for 3 whole minutes, like
right.
getting
Don't
back
touch
in
me.
that habit. Yeah. But it's happening. It's getting back there.
Did you tell me the name of the new album, the title of
So it's called Live at ISIS.
Okay.
Pretty
Well,
straightforward.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And the ISIS kind of went away, didn't it?
Speaking of casualties of the pandemic, yeah.
I was so sad about that.
Yeah, we lost a lot of venues that we loved, and ISIS, they were ready to move on to other things. The Woodies, wonderful family that ran that
They are.
all those years, and but we miss it.
Nobody's
really
taken
miss
it over or reopened
No.
it. That's sad.
They hoped somebody would, but
'Cause-
it's a lot to keep a venue afloat these days. I
Yes,
mean,
it
really
is.
post-pandemic, there's a lot of variables in there, but it's
But it was fun. I remember watching them, online. They would share so much, and watching that venue be born as, the new ISIS.
Well, and I have a personal history with it. My grandparents used to go there on dates in the 30s in the 40s. They went on their first date there in 1943, I want to say.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Wow.
it's still got a lot of history, that theater.
So you are an Asheville native.
Yes.
Yeah, I figured you were because of the interest into all of the Asheville lore that was.
Actually, 3 of us up here are Asheville natives.
That's what I was
Trevor
gonna
and
ask.
Finn are also, Asheville natives.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, it's all right. We'll count you.
Is he adopted Asheville there?
We went to rival high schools. I guess we all went to rival high schools. You were at Reynolds, right? Yeah. Oof, man.
Oh man.
We get along though, in spite of it all.
Well.
I was Asheville High. Trevor was at Robertson. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I lived in the district of Robertson when I lived up there, but I didn't go to school up there, so I liked everybody.
Yeah. You're not in the rivalry.
Wish you all the best. Fight, win. But so much interesting. I learned quite a bit just from listening to this album over and over. Was that a lot of things that you had heard as you were coming along, or was there a lot of research?
Yes, I did quite a bit of research. It started out, in the inspiration being my grandparents' stories growing up here, right? So things like the song Beecham's Curve is, a retelling of my grandfather's description of riding the trolley as a child, and there was a lot of kind of their own personal stories and anecdotes that are woven in. But then I definitely went to the great North Carolina History Room at the Asheville Library downtown.
Yeah.
And dug through old, books, and a lot of it's logged online now. You can really find some really great treasures about Asheville, about all history, but North Carolina and Asheville history. Yeah,
I was
it
thinking
fun.
about microfiche, but that's not a thing anymore,
No,
is it?
I actually hoped it would be. I was like, oh, I'm going to go look at but they don't. That's all online now. Yeah.
The younger folks are like, "What's he talking about?"
I know.
Yeah.
It's a tiny fish.
Yeah, it's a.
Tiny fish. Yeah.
But I guess a lot of towns have these sort of stories and sort of history things and whatever. The Hayes and Hobson actually reminded me of my hometown of Lynchburg,
Oh.
Virginia.
Yeah.
And lots of stuff like that from that period
yeah.
of time. And my grandfather was a cop back in those days in Lynchburg.
Clean or dirty?
Taking a fifth. Taking a fifth.
He's drinking a fit.
We should have gotten Trevor a mic. Can you hear him?
Oh, we could hear him.
You could hear him. Okay.
He's
good.
projecting like that bass.
Oh.
Yeah. So,
So he was a cop? Yeah.
yeah, but Asheville, I mean, it's always held a mystique to me anyway. As someone who grew up somewhere else and really literally discovered Asheville like in the mid 90s.
Mm-hmm. Which was a cool time. I feel like the late 90s, early 2000s was this magical little bubble in Asheville where
It was.
we hadn't popped yet, and it was like keep Asheville weird that little time.
It was, man, and getting familiar with it at stuff like Belshare.
Oh yeah, my dad helped to start Belshare.
Did he
and,
really?
And did the booking and running.
She's
of it
like walking history herself here.
Oh, so are these guys.
Hmm?
When did you move to Asheville?
I didn't live there very long, but it was like 2000, 2001 through that time.
Cool.
So maybe the bubble was still there then. I feel like it was. And
I feel like it was still there. And that was part of my inspiration writing the album too, is Asheville's getting really developed these days. You know, everywhere you look, there's a new hotel. And just kind of wanting to preserve some of that history, those stories, you know, that make it a unique place. It's kind of the whole world is getting a bit homogenized and corporatized, you know, just wanting to.
Did you have trouble kind of boiling things down to what you wanted to write for these songs? Because there's so much, I imagine, of information. You're like, I don't want to leave that out. I don't want to leave that out.
Yeah, I mean, Maddock had this great idea when we were writing it to have each song be a different known location.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, it's like if you looked at a map, like each song took place somewhere different. And so that kind of helped us to narrow down big spots that I felt like people would actually kind of know and relate to, like, you know, the Grove Park Inn and the Biltmore House.
Sure.
Things like that.
Sure. Some of that stuff, though, kind of, I was kind of curious because there was things that I didn't know anything about. The castle, the Zealandia Castle.
Zealandia Castle, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And the Cornelia's Masquerade, one of my favorite songs on the record.
Oh, nice.
But I didn't know, that was it was brand new to me.
She was a wild one, Cornelia Vanderbilt. She I don't mention it in the song. There was so much. That was actually one that was hard to narrow down, what I wanted to talk about.
Right.
Because she in the 30s, she just left her kids and moved to Paris and dyed her hair pink and changed her name to Nilcha and just started a whole new life as an artist in Paris in the 30s. You know, it's I want to see that movie. You know?
You're right. Right. And
yeah, totally.
The songs were kind of like audio movies in a way to me. Some of them,
Good. Awesome. Thank you for
and then
that.
words I do know, like Kenilworth, the Kenilworth Naval Hospital. I had a friend that lived up on top of Kenilworth for a long time.
Yeah.
And I loved being up there. It was so cool. And it's all what do you call it? Residential.
Yes,
but
we actually played a gig there, which was part of what inspired that song, is that we learned about this place we had never known about, and it's tremendous history.
Mm-hmm.
When we were there playing for was it a 100th anniversary party? I think. So. Yeah, they had this big cake.
I don't think it was the original building technically.
Oh, had the original building burnt down? Okay, yeah.
No,
well, more or less.
See, so much appreciation for the history of the city up there, and you guys, they obviously look for the perfect band to play for the occasion. So. All right, before I butter y'all up too much,
heads are gonna be too big.
Keep
fall
going.
over. Yeah.